Come January, Maryland's General Assembly will convene for the legislative session. Of course, crime is among the hot-button issues Annapolis lawmakers will discuss. We continue our conversation with Governor Wes Moore, what he wants accomplished this session. Tell me about young people, because I think that's what concerns people the most. I think they're concerned about seeing the same faces, maybe get caught doing something. They go home and then 2 days later doing it again.
Yeah.
What can we do to prevent it, but then also to sort of support young people so that they don't get into some of this?
Well, it's true, and a lot of that frustration is real. And I think there's legislation that was passed before I became governor that I know there are some tweaks that need to be made about how we can do things, like how are we thinking about probation periods for people that get caught with firearms? How are we thinking about some of these gun charges that are currently listed as misdemeanors that I think need to be upgraded to felonies? And so there are things that we can do. But you bring up a really important point. Is I'm not just interested in dealing with the consequences of crime. I want to deal with the root causes for it as well. That we have to be able to do both, about both addressing accountability for people that are breaking the law and how young people are breaking the law, but also we've got to do a better job of creating supports around them so that's not the life that they choose in the first place. And so deal with it before it's an issue is going to be part of that two-headed solution and all the above approach that we're taking to public safety.
Tell me about public transportation. I know people in Baltimore really want a system that works. You get jealous when you go to D.C. and you get from one point in the city to the next in no time. What can we do here to get people either to jobs or to colleges or closer to D.C.?
That is so frustrating because the people deserve a world-class transportation system. And one of the first things that we did when we came on board was things like put the red line back on track. I mean, having east-west transit is going to be a prerequisite because you can't have economic growth and economic mobility if you don't have physical mobility. So that became a priority for our administration to actually work on this and get this done. But we also have to change our business model. We are the only state in the country that is supporting two major metropolitan transportation systems with one exclusive funding source. And by the way, that funding source is primarily a gas tax. That was created 10 years ago. And so we have seen how the business model that we have created is something that's not creating growth, but we continue to watching the demands continue to increase, which is creating that deficit. We've got to fix this business model. We need to come up with new and innovative ways of being able to fund the bold ambitions that we have for transportation, specifically mass transit, but we cannot do it on the backs of working families. And that is where I have to draw the line about how we're thinking about being bold, being ambitious, but at the same time saying you've got to be able to protect our working families in this.
Yeah, and I think like here in Baltimore, waiting on the light rail, and I don't know if you've gotten an update on that yet, but how's that progressing right now as we try to get that back on track? Or do you?
It's progressing well, and we should have the light rail back on track. But I mean, that's a perfect example where the reason that the light rail, that MTA pulled the light rail off track was because of safety issues. It's safety concerns.
That video spoke to people when they saw the flames inside the car.
Inside the car. And so you got to make sure that people are able to move around safely, but that also means we have to address the problem with the model. And these are older cars that needed real measurements of repair, and there's been neglect in the way that we've looked at transportation, but that neglect has to stop.
Something that's dear to you, military spouses getting preferential treatment when it comes to hiring. This was really important to you, wasn't it?
Very. And it's personal. I'm new to politics, but I was a paratrooper and an Army officer and a combat vet and a business leader. And the thing that I know and why we've been so aggressive in supporting our military veterans is we have to make thank you for your service actually mean something instead of just being a statement. So in our first legislative session, we had a very aggressive agenda that was focusing on veterans, gave younger veterans the largest tax cut in a generation. We're able to make Maryland the first state in the country that now has a pathway for both free dental care and health care for members of our National Guard. And we are going to make 2024 the year of the military family. And so we'll be introducing legislation that does a few things, like giving preferential treatment to military spouses, because they have to move around every couple years. And so when an employer is looking at their resume and it says, well, it looks like you can't hold a job because you've only been at a job for a year at a time. They don't understand it's because my family continues to have to move because of deployments. And so it's how can we do a better job of educating society to be able to take care of not just the veteran, but also take care of their family members.
Tell me more about the session. Anything else that's coming up that you want to make sure it gets on the docket and it makes its way through this year?
Oh yeah, this is going to be a very good and a very bold session.
Okay.
Following up from a bold session we had last time, but a couple core areas. We are going to focus on military families in this. We're going to focus on economic growth and really investing in industries that can get our economy going. The problem with Maryland's economy is our economy has been flat for the past 5 years. We've only grown by 0.2%. Yeah. And the average state has grown by 7.5%. So we've got to get our economy moving and get more people employed. We are going to have a focus on public safety, and so I'll have an entire package that's going to be around public safety and making sure that people can feel safe. And we are going to continue this aggressive assault on child poverty. Sure. We cannot continue the level of child poverty in our state that we continue to see. This is going to be the state that serves, but part of that service means we've got to address the issue of child poverty.
That's new to me. Talk to me a little bit about that. What do you want to address to make sure that young folks are getting what they deserve and need?
Yeah. Well, you know, and we looked in our first legislative session, you know, we passed bills that did everything from making permanent the child tax credit, having an enhanced earned income tax credit, raising the minimum wage to $15. These policies alone lifted over 34,000 children up a rung on the economic ladder and over 150,000 families up a rung on the economic ladder. People need to have a measure of financial stability, and particularly people who are out there working. Sure. We have to incentivize work. And I think the thing we're going to see in this next session is we also have to be intentional about what is the data showing us. Yes. Some of the most challenging neighborhoods, both urban, rural, and suburban, that we have across the state, they've been the most challenged neighborhoods for generations. Yeah. It hasn't changed, but we haven't approached it where we say we need to be place-based and targeted in the way we're putting our investments. And so we're going to watch communities that have historically been very chronically neglected. Yeah. We're going to watch them actually get the measure of focus and attention that they deserve, because when they rise, our entire state is going to rise as well.
All right. Governor, good to see you.
It's great to see you.
See you at Oriole Park. Huh?
Yes, sir.
For 30
years.
Go O's.
Let's go O's.
We appreciate the time, sir.